My new patient tried to eat his girl for Thanksgiving dinner. In October 1978, Philadelphia police responded to a dead body call at abandoned theater. They arrived on scene to discover most of a corpse of young woman on the stage. Her hands and feet were bound. At some point post-mortem, the perpetrator had decapitated the victim and stitched the head of a bald man onto her neck. Heavy stage makeup had been applied to the man's face. His mouth was sewed shut. When one of the responding officers knelt down to inspect these sutures, the corpse's eyes opened. The body shuddered to life, stretching until the bindings broke. The amalgam rose unsteadily to its feet, dipped into a formal bow, and began to move. The braver of the two officers grabbed the corpse, believing it to be a hoax of some kind. He grabbed it by the throat with such force that he tore the sutures attaching the man's head to the woman's neck. Now only partially attached, the head flopped to the side. The officer recoiled, and the corpse continued to move as though nothing had happened. At this point, someone yelled, "Stop it! You're interrupting him." The speaker was a young girl of approximately 10 years old, sitting at the highest point in the auditorium, a crumbling balcony with no visible point of egress. The corpse paid her no attention and began whirling feverishly around the stage. The head was still only partially detached, but the corpse seemed unaware. Per their later testimony, the police officers slowly realized they were watching a one-man reenactment of a murder. As the gruesome performance carried on, the little girl in the corner began to cry with steadily increasing emotion. Her weeping finally culminated in a wail when the corpse mimed sawing his own head off. He pulled his head off, sutures snapping loudly as they parted through the flesh, then tucked it under his arm and ran backstage and out of sight. Despite the distance between the theater and Ashachnaskiw, the Harlequin, by all accounts secure in his cell inside the facility, expressed knowledge of this incident. He provided staff with the address of the theater and told them, "My son is performing there tonight. Not one of his best, unfortunately, but I'll tell him you're coming if you like." Personnel were immediately dispatched to the theater. By the time personnel arrived, 2 days had passed. They obtained the relevant police reports. Among other things, they learned the officers fled the scene without recovering the young girl since she was unreachable on the crumbling balcony. Although the officers returned with reinforcements, the dancing corpse was nowhere to be found. Neither was the child. But when agency personnel entered the theater during their investigation, both the girl and the dancing corpse were back inside. Personnel quickly realized they had arrived toward the end of the performance. The child was sobbing so loudly that she inadvertently masked the sounds of their entry. They concealed themselves accordingly, taking refuge in a small alcove near the back of the auditorium, and watched as the corpse, which, in keeping with the police reports, was a woman's body with a man's head sewn on, continued to dance. Shortly after their arrival, the corpse completed its performance and retreated backstage. Approximately 2 minutes later, a man with a face identical to that of the head sewn onto the woman's corpse returned on stage, visibly weeping. In his arms was the woman's corpse, now headless. Chest heaving silently, he gave a deep bow. As agents watched, the crying child bolted on stage and hugged the man, at which point the agents made themselves known. The man vanished backstage. When agents attempted to follow, the child interfered. By the time she was restrained, the man was nowhere to be found. Resigned, they returned to interrogate the girl, who was still standing on stage. She refused to provide her name, but was willing. "Dreams come true without the correct fuel, and you don't give me the fuel here." But I still had my regular dreams. Regular sleeping dreams where I was together with my girl in her shitty apartment with the baby, where I didn't have to eat anything weird or take myself apart or stitch corpses back together, where there were no crazy bastards in hoods and no blood spreading across the floor like the halo in the city bright. But I haven't been able to dream in months. I mean it. I haven't seen my dreams or my good girl in months, and it's his fault. The bastard that did this to me in the first place took away my dreams. He told me so by cutting messages in my skin. See, there's a bunch. I'll show you. Look, this one right here, it says, "In truth, you're not the son I wish to claim. Your lack of charm has left my heart in pain. For sons like you who fail to bring delight deserve no dreams to guide them through the night. And this one, in truest truth, I see your faults unfold, a son who lacks the spark, whose dreams grow old. Your laughter fades, no joy to fill the air, for bad sons lack the heart, the love, the care. No dreams await for those who do not strive. In darkness now you fail to truly thrive. So heed my words, for truth is stark and clear. A son so dull deserves no dreams, I fear. And then this one too. You are a son I find I can't endure, unentertaining, lacking any charm. Bad sons like you should never dare to dream, for dreams are earned, only given when one serves. And he wrote me this one just last night. He even signed it. Thou art a son who brings me naught but shame, with little joy in entertainment's name. Unworthy dreams are all that's left for thee, for bad sons lack the light of destiny. Love your father, Arlecchino. You know what he means, right? He's using all these fancy words just to say I'm a bad son with no entertainment value. And bad sons with no entertainment value don't deserve to have dreams. That's why I'm telling you the truth. Why I'm breaking my father's law even after everything he did to me. Because I need my dreams back. God damn it. It's the only way I have to give my good girl the world. It's not real. I know that. Dreams aren't real. But they come straight from my heart, and that at least means they're true. That means something, right? I mean, that's got to count for something, to answer other questions. When asked what the corpse had been doing, the girl answered, "He's showing me what Randall did." When asked if the entity was Randall, she shook her head. When asked who the man was, she said, "Pantomime. He taught me how to act." Finally, when asked why pantomime would show her such a terrible thing, she said, "Because he's sorry." She refused to provide any additional information. When the agents attempted to take her into custody, Pantomime reappeared and attacked them with catastrophic results, allowing her to escape. Once she was no longer on site, Pantomime transformed. He became docile and even expressed regret in a nonverbal manner for the injuries he inflicted on the agents. He then waited obediently for additional personnel to arrive and came into agency custody without further incident. When asked why, he wrote a simple answer: "Because my father can't get me if I go with you." Investigation post-arrest showed that Pantomime's stomach contained partially digested bone matter and meat from a human victim. When agency personnel removed his mouth sutures, they discovered that his tongue was missing. Experimentation shows that Pantomime is able to remove and reattach his head and limbs at will. He is able to attach his head and limbs onto dead bodies. Pantomime maintains control over any limb attached to another individual. For example, if his head is attached to someone else, he has complete control over that body until decomposition compromises the structures. Additionally, Pantomime has the ability to project mental images and fantasies into reality for limited amounts of time. He can only do this after consuming human brain tissue. Pantomime's most frequently projected scenes consist of himself and a young woman. Nothing of note ever happens in these scenes. Pantomime's tongue has been observed to reappear and disappear in apparently random fashion. It should be noted that on 11/26/2024, Pantomime's tongue reappeared and he asked to speak to Commander R. Wingaried. Pantomime disclosed largely non-specific knowledge of a plot between the Harlequin and unknown agency personnel. This disclosure, combined with the return of Pantomime's ability to speak, prompted administration to schedule an interview with the agency's specialized interviewer with the goal of obtaining additional details about this plot. It should be noted that Pantomime rarely speaks. Nevertheless, he can write and does so extensively with little prompting. The caveats with Pantomime's writing are as follows. His writings take the form of stage plays, complete with character dialogue and stage directions. Every one of Pantomime's works is titled All the World's a Stage. The Harlequin is a recurring figure in Pantomime's plays. The relationship between Pantomime and the Harlequin is not understood. Pantomime consistently refuses to elaborate. The Harlequin describes their relationship thus: "My son sang most beautifully in my city bright." Pantomime's many plays are primarily a variation on a theme. They follow the life of Pantomime as he forms a friendship with a young woman named Sarita. The plays are always told through Sarita's perspective. Sarita is a poverty-stricken woman who is bullied mercilessly both at home and at work. Sarita's childhood dream is to be an actress, although she knows it will never happen due to her unattractiveness and her lack of talent. But the dream doesn't die. As stated in one of the most notable lines of the play, this dream burns on in defiance of reality. One day, Sarita finds an abandoned theater. She begins to spend her free time there, twirling around on stage and acting out scenes in private, far from critical eyes. But unbeknownst to her, Pantomime lives in the theater and he loves to watch her. One day, she catches him spying on her. Rather than running away, she chases him through the theater until she corners him backstage. They form a friendship. Sarita and Pantomime spend their afternoons acting together. Something strange happens when they're on stage. Sarita changes, becoming more beautiful, and the scenes they act out start to become real. She describes it as an enchantment, a real-life fantasy world that evaporates at the curtain call. What Sarita doesn't know is that Pantomime lives in the theater because it is used as a dumping ground by a killer. The stream of bodies provides Pantomime with a steady supply of human bones and human brains, through which he derives the energy required to briefly project his and Sarita's scenes into reality. One day, Sarita's friend Debbie disappears. Sarita goes to Pantomime's theater, bursting inside just in time to see Pantomime biting into Debbie's head. Sarita believes Pantomime is the killer and runs away, never to return. After her departure, Pantomime cries silently until the Harlequin appears. Note, alone of the characters in Pantomime's plays, the Harlequin speaks in iambic pentameter. In his writings, Pantomime's iambic pentameter is flawless. The Harlequin also speaks in iambic pentameter in the interview transcribed below. However, the interviewer noted multiple flaws in either meter or stressed syllables in the Harlequin's iambic pentameter as verbally related by Pantomime. Whether this is relevant is not known. The Harlequin asks, "Remember how you sang so beautifully for gods and monsters in my bright city?" Pantomime only weeps. The Harlequin tells Pantomime that he'll take him back to the city bright if he doesn't find Sarita and consume her head. He retreats backstage, leaving Pantomime to weep until curtain. The agency notes that Pantomime exhibited significant psychological distress when he learned that the Harlequin is also incarcerated at the Pantheon. Interview subject, Pantomime classification. String non-cooperative, indestructible, agnosto, constant, substantial, hemitheos. Interviewer, Rachel B., date 11/28/24. She was an ugly girl, but so what? I wanted to give her the world, only I didn't have the world. I only had what I had, which was less than nothing. I knew from the second I saw her that she was perfect for me. I've never told anyone this before because I hate the way it sounds, but from the very start I wanted to make all her dreams come true. I wanted to be her dream come true. It was a scary feeling. Real scary, especially because strictly speaking, she was way too young for me. But that wasn't scariest. Not even close. Scariest was feeling that way in the first place. Freaked me out pretty bad and it made me act weird at first. Yeah, looking back, I was pretty fucking weird about it for a bit. But she didn't hold it against me. She was such a good girl. We worked nights at the arena, mostly after the crowds left. Breaking down the setups, prepping the place for tomorrow's show, scrubbing beer and soda and popcorn and half-eaten hot dogs and puke and God knew what else off the stands. Sometimes we'd pick through the lost and found bins on our breaks, especially when the boss wasn't around. He wasn't around on the holidays, so we stole a lot of stuff leading up to Thanksgiving and Christmas. She called those lost and found bins our special Christmas tree. No one ever knew what we were talking about. It felt great having those inside jokes with her. During hockey season, we'd turn on the spotlights and go slipping and sliding all over the ice. She called it primitive ice skating, but mostly it was just falling. I didn't care. She was a dreamer. She told about all her dreams. Moving to California to be either a movie star or a beach bum, depending on how tired she was feeling that day. Or moving to New York City to work at an art museum. Going to college to learn how to do something. That's what she always said. I just want to learn something, or getting a job at the police department to get benefits for her sisters. Learning to bartend so she could make tips, or how to sew so she could make costumes for her cat. Auditioning for the star role in the community theater, or writing a book just so she could say she'd written a book. I liked when she talked about her dreams with me. felt like it meant something. She was such a good girl. Happy all the time, smiles all around, helpful even when being helpful hurt her. She was also kinda, I don't know how to say it, a tiny bit bad, not bad, wicked. She was kind of a little bit wicked, but that just made her even better for me. And she was already perfect for me. She always made me feel good things. Before her, I wasn't the best at feeling good things, but she changed that. And it was great. When you feel good things, you eventually think good things too. And me, I was feeling good and thinking good for probably the first time in years. It was all because of her, because she was such a good girl. Me, though, I wasn't a good guy. She didn't know that. I used to have nightmares about her finding out. Isn't that crazy? Literal nightmares. I don't know what I would have done if she'd known how good I wasn't. She wouldn't have showed me her special Christmas tree, or taken me slipping and sliding all over the ice with me if she'd known. She definitely wouldn't have been my best friend if she'd have known. So I'm real glad she didn't know. Like I told you, I knew even before I said a word to her that I wanted to give her the world. You know how fucked up that is, feeling that way when there's nothing you can do about it? Knowing you'd burn the world down for someone, but never even getting a chance to buy the match you need to do it? She was an ugly girl, yeah, but it didn't matter to me. That's not the problem. That's the opposite of a problem. That's love. The problem was, there were other people it didn't matter to. And one of them didn't need to buy a match because he owned the goddamn match factory. I was nice about it. I really was. Not all the time, of course. Not even most of the time. Not on the way to work, not on the way back home. Definitely not at home. Not in private. Not in my thoughts. Not anywhere on the inside. But when I was with my girl in the arena breaking down the sets and preparing for tomorrow's show and cleaning beer and soda pop and God knows what else off the stands, when we were sitting down around our special Christmas tree, and when we were slip-sliding all over the under spotlights so hot they made the ice melt a little under our feet, I was nice about it. I didn't even have to nice for too long, because that rich fucker broke her heart. He told her she was a good girl, but she wasn't for him. Wasn't sophisticated enough, wasn't pretty enough, just plain wasn't enough for his family. And guys like him, they need girls who are enough for their families. I was sad about it. I really was. Not all the time. Not even most of the time. Not on the way to work. Not on the way back home. Definitely not at home. Not in private. Not in my thoughts. Not anywhere on the inside. But when I was with my girl in the arena breaking down the sets and preparing for tomorrow's show and cleaning beer and soda pop and God knows what else off the stands, when we were sitting down around our special Christmas tree and when we were slip-sliding all over the under spotlights so hot they made the ice melt a little under our feet, I was sad about it. Because she needed me to be sad, and all I wanted was to give her what she needed. Well, okay. That's not all I wanted. I also wanted to make my move, but I wasn't a fool. I'm a lot of things, most of them bad, but not a fool. She was too sad, too heartbroken over that rich fucker to spare even an inkling of that kind of feeling for me. And to make it even more complicated, she was going to have that rich fucker's baby. She was a dreamer. I told you that already, how she was a dreamer who shared all her dreams with me. She kept sharing them even after the tough rich fucker broke her heart, old dreams and new. Her new dreams started to include that baby. I wasn't too happy about that at first. That's pretty ugly of me, I know. But then I thought it through, really thought it through, you know? And after I thought it through, I decided that was actually a really good thing. Parents are supposed to want the best for her kids. I liked that she wanted the best for it. Just kind of reinforced what a good girl she was, as far as I was concerned. It was good of her to not blame the baby for his shithead dad. You know how much better my life would have been if my mom hadn't blamed me for my shithead dad? That didn't make it any easier to not make my move, though. I really wanted to make my move. I'm telling you, I would have done anything. I wanted to give her the world. I'd have even given that baby the world. But I didn't have the world to give, do you understand? How could I make my offer when I didn't even have anything to offer? She deserved more than that. She was a good girl. One night after the show, a big, massive show, the kind that leaves the sort of mess that ought to be illegal, my girl just burst into tears. My good smiley girl crying was awful. Watching her cry made me feel so useless, so worthless. I didn't know what to do. I would have done anything to put that smile back on her face. Anything at all. Burned the world down if I had to. Hell, by that point, burning the world down wasn't even a hard sell. I tried to talk to her about her dreams, to help her cheer up, to remind her how to smile, how important it is to smile, and how you need to feel good feelings so you can think good thoughts and do good things, to help her the way she always helped me. But that just made it worse. All she said was, "Dreams don't come true. Dreams aren't real. Never were, never will be." Let me tell you, that broke my heart. Maybe as much as hers was broken. It just broke me right down, seeing my good dreamer girl crushed under the world. I'd have done anything to pull the world off her. Anything at all. That's all I wanted, to make her dreams come true. She went home after she told me dreams aren't real, leaving me to clean up the rest of the mess by myself. She called in sick the night after, too. It was hard being in there without her. I started pretending that she was there with me, helping me break down the sets and prep for tomorrow's show and cleaning up the beer and the soda pop and God knows what else. I pretended it was like the old days, before the rich fucker broke her heart. I pretended to pick presents out from our special tree. I got on the ice and pretended I was slipping and sliding with her. I pretended we were getting closer. I pretended she looked at me under the lights and realized I was her dream come true. And that's when this big, crazy bastard in a giant hood comes loping across the ice like a goddamn tiger. And he grabs my hands, just grabs them. You know what's even crazier? After he takes me hands, he tries to slip and slide around the ice with me, like he could read my mind and was pretending to be my good girl. And then this crazy bastard, you know what he said to me? He says, "Would you, my child, become my cherished son?" And I'm like, what the hell? I try to get away, but he clamps down real hard on my hands and keeps pulling me along the ice, slipping and sliding like nothing's wrong. Then he goes, "I weave the dreams my children wish to see. I don't know what's wrong with you, but I think you need to stop talking and get going before I call the cops. If I should leave, then all your dreams will die." What? I hold the key to make your dreams come true. I pulled my hands out and tried to back away, but I only slipped and fell. No more sliding for me. As I lay there, rubbing my head as stars go rocketing across my vision, this asshole kneels down beside me and he says, "I find your troubles quite a joy to see." What? Your troubles bring me joy. They entertain, and life, devoid of mirth, is but a strain. The longer he talked, the easier it was to understand him. Does that make sense? Like he was saying crazy old English shit and I didn't really get it, but at the same time I was figuring out the meaning under the words. And when he said that, about life being a strain, I knew he was really saying that he thought me and all my problems were entertaining. Like, this bastard thought I was funny for being sad about my girl. He was laughing at me. And for what? Wanting to give someone the world? Fuck that. That's what I told him too. Fuck you. Your troubles bring a smile upon my face, for in your misery joy I find and grace. I long to help your dreams come forth anew. With every laugh I'll strive to make them true. He was making fun of me even harder then, because what he was saying was my troubles with my girl were so entertaining to him that he wanted to help me. In exchange for all the fucking entertainment I provided with my sadness, with my pain, my actual legitimate motherfucking pain, he was saying he was going to make all my dreams come true. Crazy, right? Crazy enough that I'd already had enough. Crazy big Shakespeare bastard or not, I was done. I got up, taking care so I didn't fall and crack my head again, and started to march out. I was looking forward to calling the cops on this bastard for trespassing. As I'm slip-sliding across the ice on the way to call the cops, this guy says, "Beneath the special Christmas tree, look near. A gift I've left to bring you joy and cheer." I shouldn't have listened. I shouldn't have looked. I know that now. I knew that then. But I just couldn't help myself. Instead of leaving and calling the cops, I went to the lost and found bins. And there, sitting across the top like a giant Three Stooges prop, was the biggest, stupidest-looking box of matches I will ever see. The thing was the size of a go-kart. It was almost as big as the bin. It was ridiculous. I should have either gotten mad, like really pissy at this bastard for making fun of me like that, or I should have gotten scared. Looking back, I really wish I'd gotten scared and run the hell away. That's what I'd do now. Run the hell away and never think about this again. That's not what I did. I couldn't help myself. Looking at that giant matchbox made me feel curious. That made me start thinking curious things. Thinking things like, what if maybe this crazy bastard knew my girl, or the rich fucker who broke her heart? Things like, what if he didn't know them at all but could read my mind? Things like, what if he was some kind of genie or angel? Some spirit of giving or generosity or true love or some shit? What if he had come specially to help me? Things like, what if this crazy bastard wasn't crazy at all? What if he was magic? I always wanted to believe in magic. Guess you could say I used to dream of it. Are you telling me to burn the world down for her? I asked. You need not set the entire world ablaze, but rather only this one single stage. It took me a minute to figure out what he was really saying. You want me to burn the arena down? Why the fuck would I do that? To do this now will truly entertain. To be entertained brings me much delight. If you will entertain me here this night, I'll weave your dreams and into them breathe life. I didn't like where this was going. I didn't like it at all. I knew what freaks like him meant when they talk about generosity and entertainment. I told him so, told him I don't swing that way, and even if I did, it wouldn't be for a freak like him. And then he did this thing. Shifted. All weird, you know? And after he shifted, he grew, and grew and grew, and that's when I knew I wasn't dealing with some freak. This was something else. This was some goddamned magic. Before I can move, he grabs me and picks me up, right by the scruff of my uniform, like a dirty kitten, and he hauls me up, right up to the spotlight. That sizzling, spitting spotlight that's so hot it makes then ice melt if you accidentally leave it on too long. And then he shoves my face against the light. God damn the pain. Even now, god damn it. It was so bad I couldn't even be scared. But that was good. It was good that I was screaming so loud and hurting so much, because it meant I was too busy to really notice that the bastard's hood had fallen away. Too busy to really see what I was seeing. Even through all that pain, what I saw, what I see made me turn my face up to that spotlight to burn my own eyes out. Before I could, the monster pulled me away, cooked cheek skin sticking to that light and sizzling still popping, and laid me down burn first on the ice. The spotlight was dimmer now, because that big piece of my own popping, sizzling skin was casting a shadow, like the biggest, weirdest, grossest shadow puppet that ever was. I either bring more pain or grant your dreams. Both paths amuse, so choose which as you will. I knew what he's saying, that he could either burn me again or make my dreams come true. It was up to me, and he didn't care which choice I made because it would be entertaining either way. But I couldn't answer. That's because I was still seeing what was under his hood. He didn't like that I couldn't answer. You'll burn this arena, or I shall burn you. Set fire first, and your dreams will come true. That kind of broke me out of my spell, and I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. How insane was this? This fucking thing walked right out of a nightmare, out of a dream. I was delirious, I admit it. Wouldn't you be? You would if you'd looked under his hood and seen what I saw. And I guess because I was delirious, I started thinking. I thought of nightmares. Nightmares made me think of dreams. Thinking of dreams made me think of my girl. How all I wanted was to give her the world. How I'd burn the world down for her if she asked. How maybe, I'd just been given something. Not a match, a fucking flamethrower. If I burn it down, I said, if I burn this place down for you, you'll make my dreams come true? He smiled. I couldn't see his face under the hood, but I could see his teeth shining weird in that shadowy spotlight. Can I check my dreams with you first? Make sure they don't break any wishing rules or something? The smile got bigger. I'd never seen a smile like that, but I see it all the time now. Every minute, every day. I think I'm going to see it forever, and that makes me wish I could die. But I didn't want to die then. I thought about things for a minute. I thought really hard. I needed to be careful, to make sure I was getting what I wanted, what I needed, what she needed. I want to be able to make all her dreams come true. Can you make that happen? Entertainment's essence, dreams that come to life. your dearest wish I vow to make true. It's crazy, I guess, but that was enough for me. Maybe because my face was still burning. Maybe because standing under my own cheek skin shadow puppet was making my stomach queasy. Maybe because I was still shell-shocked from what I saw under his hood. Or maybe just because I was sick and goddamn tired of being willing to give my girl the world but having no way to do it. Whatever it was enough, and I burned the arena down. Before the fire got too hot and bright, I saw the flames reflecting off that bastard's teeth, and in his eyes, too. Under the hood, sparkling in his eyes like rotting galaxies. I know about that, you know. I've seen rotting galaxies. He showed them to me later on. After it burned down, after the firemen came, after I watched them try and fail to quench the flames with that bastard clinging on, I closed my eyes and, well, I guess I tried to manifest, to make dreams come true. I didn't know what to expect exactly, but after all that, I definitely expected something, and I got nothing. That made me mad. I don't think I've ever been madder, not even when that rich fucker started going out with my girl. And I told him so too. But all he said was, I paved the path for you to make her dreams come true. Let me tell you, I did not like what I was hearing in his voice. I did not like what I heard at all. But paths are not the goal, they guide us forth. Shall we now tread the path I paved this night? What the fuck are you saying? I gave to you this gift of potent skill, yet skill alone will not her dreams fulfill. To wield this power, one must learn and strive. I'll guide your path that mastery may thrive. Come to my city bright, where you will learn. Come to my city bright, where power flows and every dream takes flight. It was hard to figure out what he was saying, but we kept talking till I did. Basically, this bastard was telling me I had the ability to make dreams come true, but ability alone isn't enough. You gotta develop an ability. You gotta master it. And he was saying he was gonna take me to a place where I could learn to master it. I wasn't happy about that, but couldn't really argue. Honestly, it made sense. I mean, as much as anything that happened that night made sense. Fine, I said. To your city bright we go. It was hell. Worse than hell, 'cause at least hell has a point. There are no points there in the city bright. No, that's not true. There are too many points, too many lights, too many eyes, too many teeth. But while there, I learned and I learned well. I learned how to take people apart and put them back together. I learned how to take myself apart and put myself back together. I learned how to be entertaining. I learned how to make dreams come to life. And speaking of points, that was the point of it all, to make my girl's dreams come true. But you know what happened? You want to guess what happened? Here's what happened. After all that, after going to a hell with no point and too many points, you know what my girl's dream was? The rich fucker. Him, that stupid rich fucker who never burned a damn thing down for her, even though he owned the goddamned match factory. I never thought that would happen. That's why I didn't ever ask that bastard to make my dreams come true. Only hers. I thought it was a given, you know? I mean, what the hell? I thought she'd want me. I thought it was obvious. Looking back, it was maybe a pretty ugly thing to think, but at the same time, it's not like it was unfair. I didn't own the match factory, didn't even have a match. I know that. But what I did have, I gave to her, best as I knew how, and I thought that would count for something. I thought she'd care about the beauty in it, the way I only ever cared about the beauty in her. While I sat there, feeling ugly thoughts and thinking ugly things, that crazy bastard came slinking up and told me, "He stands alone upon your path this day. Remove him now, and dreams will find their way." What he was saying was, I needed to kill the rich fucker. Kill the rich fucker and take him apart. But don't put him back together. He was saying, kill the rich fucker, take him apart, and use the pieces to make dreams come true. Just like I learned in the city bright. So I found the rich fucker. I waited till I saw him doing nice things, till he was looking like he was feeling good things. Then I took myself apart. Then I killed him. Then I took him apart. And I made my dreams come true for once. Bringing dreams to life takes energy. That's one of the things I learned in the city bright. Making dreams real takes a very special kind of energy. The easiest way to get it is to eat a brain. I know it sounds sick. It is sick. But desperate times and all that. I mean, really, do you even deserve for your dreams to come true if you're not willing to do anything to make it happen? That's why I waited till the rich fucker was doing nice things and feeling good feelings. Because nice things make it go down easier. Nice things make you feel good feelings. Good feelings make you think good thoughts. Good thoughts make the dreams very strong. I did everything I could to make my dreams strong that night. I needed them to be strong. Stronger than anything my father taught me to do. And they were strong. Super strong. So strong that they were true. The problem is, something can be true without being real. But I didn't know that yet. I hadn't learned that yet. That's why, as soon as I was done putting myself back together, I went straight to my girl, to her crappy, cozy little apartment with the buzzing lights and the curling linoleum. I knew she'd be happy to see me, because that was my dream, and I knew how to make dreams come to life. And when I walked in at first, she was happy. So was her baby, bouncing in her arms. My good girl smiled and hugged me and said she was so glad I'd come because she'd been waiting for me. It was Thanksgiving, she said. Isn't that crazy? It was Thanksgiving, and that was great because she was giving thanks that I'd finally come home to her to make all her dreams come true. It was a good dream, a dream that was true because it came from my heart. But that didn't mean it was real. I only saw what was real when the baby started crying. That's when what was real broke through what was true. What was real was that my girl wasn't smiling and happy. She was pale and crying. She was scared of me. I figured she didn't recognize me. To be fair, I look real different since my father got a hold of me. I was stupid to forget that. No wonder my girl didn't know me. I didn't look right. I still sound like myself though, so I started saying her name, telling her it's okay, it's just me. It's just me, and I'm here to make all her dreams come true. She screamed when I said that. I got kind of mad. After everything, she's there screaming at me? For what? Just for doing everything I could to give her the world? But I didn't let myself get too mad. Like I said, I looked different. My father saw to that, so I thought maybe she was too scared about what I looked like to recognize my voice. That's when I decided to hug her. To lace my hands through hers and go slipping and sliding across the linoleum under the buzzing lights, the way we'd go slipping and sliding on the ice under the spotlights. I went to hug her like I used to help her calm down. I knew she'd know it was me once I hugged her, and once she knew it was me, she would calm down. But that didn't happen, because I only made it halfway. After I killed the rich fucker, I was in too much of a hurry. When I put myself back together, I didn't pull my stitches tight, so when I kind of lunged forward to catch my girl and hold her, my stitches came loose and my leg fell right off. I went tumbling to the linoleum like a broken acrobat. I reached for her on the way down, not on purpose, by accident, by instinct. I grabbed her to break my fall. She tried to get out of my grip, but she was holding the baby and she was off balance and she was scared of me besides, so instead she twisted just right. No, wrong. She twisted just wrong and bashed her head on the corner of the counter. Then she was the one flopping on the stained linoleum like a puppet with its strings cut. She was the one crumpled on the ground while those buzzing lights made reflections in the blood spreading out from her head. My good girl, lost. Her dreams, lost in the blood pouring out of her brain. My love, lost. I couldn't stand to lose my dreams on top of all that. It was a sick thing to do. I know that, but she was already gone. And I was still there, trapped in a world without her. A world I didn't have reason to burn anymore, even if I could have. And now I don't even have dreams anymore. I'm not talking about making dreams come true. I gave up on that a while ago. I had to, because I can't make